Brian Phillips backstage, Grant Park, day 2 of Lollapalooza with the artist Talk.
That's me. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being
in
here.
this beautiful location with fans. You're the only one with fans so
Well,
far.
we like to keep it cool here.
It's
How was
nice.
your time in Chicago so far?
Great. Last night I got here late and I slept for 11 hours. I really needed it.
Yeah.
And so I feel great today.
Yeah.
I played one set already.
You're in the middle of sets, and then you have another
I'm in
set.
between sets,
Yeah.
yes, correct. And then I go to the BMI stage and I do my thing there and try and make people happy and make the day good and, you know, that whole thing.
Tell me about your upbringing in Canada.
Canada,
And
yes.
a lot of people that aren't familiar with your story or your music. Growing up in Canada, tell us about growing up in Canada.
Growing up in Canada is pretty much just like the U.S., but it's a little bit less loud and a little bit less busy.
Yeah.
But I grew up near the border in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to like upstate New York. It's kind of the same thing. But no good burger chains, really.
No? Not in Canada?
Yeah. Like no Shake Shack or like anything like that.
Oh,
Which
man.
is the best fast food burger,
It
by
is.
the way.
Yeah, it is, clearly.
Shake Shack is far superior to anything else on... Anyway, yes.
When I
so
go
Canada.
Shake Shack, I don't waste time on the fries. I just go, give me the...
Get the burger.
Let's
I
get the
never
meat in
get the
here.
fries.
Yeah.
The chicken bites are good too.
Okay.
The chicken, if they're fresh, they're good. Yeah, so Canada's chill. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's nothing special. It's just a place, you know.
When was music part of your life, or when did...
I started playing drums when I was 4. That
Mm.
was kind of my beginning
Yeah.
into things. And then I had no focus when I was a child. So I started playing guitar, started playing bass, started playing piano, started singing, kept playing drums. I kind of played drums consistently through the whole, kind of up through high school. But kind of became a producer without realizing it by playing everything. And I got my first copy of Pro Tools, like recording software, when I was like 11.
Yeah.
So I was like messing around on that for years. And eventually just took it more and more seriously. And now I'm here.
Yeah. And
Probably a decade, decade in between when I started taking it serious.
Well, for a lot of people, for everyone, when COVID hit, everyone had to like stop and then reassess and like, sometimes go home. And
Right.
And for you, it was a point where you went back to Canada and kind of...
Yeah. I went back to my
Pause.
parents' place and kind of figured out what kind of artist I wanted to be. Spent majority of my time writing, recording. It was kind of a blessing for me that all of my responsibilities kind of disappeared. I didn't have to leave my house anymore, which is one of my favorite things to do is not leave my house.
Yeah.
And so I was actually asked to do that, is to not leave my house, like by the governments. And so I didn't. And just ended up staying in my basement and recording and ended up writing Runaway to Mars, which ended up becoming a, I don't know if you call it a hit, but I guess kind of a hit.
I think I'd call it a hit.
Yeah. And I think it brought joy to a lot of people. So it was mission success.
Do you remember the first time you heard someone in the audience or audience singing your song back to you?
Yeah, from the first show, I sold out my first show ever in Toronto. And I think everyone there sang it that night.
Yeah.
You know, it was from the beginning. I knew the song was good. I think when I wrote it, you kind of get a sense.
Yeah.
This one's sticking with me. And when it was finished, it was like, okay, I think this is something. And by the first show, I knew it was really special.
Yeah.
If everyone's singing at your first show and you're
It's pretty
selling
good.
it out, and
You got
gotta
something
be doing
there.
something right.
That's a sign of a hit.
Yeah.
If you've never heard the song before, by the second verse you're singing along.
Yeah,
You got something
it's a
there.
good. It's been amazing.
And I was scrolling through your Instagram and the Milky Chance connection, how you covered one of their songs.
Yeah, years
Then you got
ago.
to play with
I love
Clarence
those
and
guys,
Philip,
man. A couple of the nicest guys I ever met. On the tour I was on with them in Young the Giant, we spent a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
And it was always just the best vibes, the most fun.
Yeah.
Those guys know how to tour right.
Yeah.
And getting to play with them, that was their offer, and I very much was honored to accept.
Yeah.
And I miss them terribly, so I don't know if they'll see this, but
Yeah.
I love
Hopefully
you
they will.
guys.
How's the Croc kick game?
Good. My knees. So I've had to tape up my knees recently because
Okay.
there's a little. You kind of stop your leg.
Yeah.
It's not like an NFL kick where you kind of follow through.
You're kicking
You
your
have to
Croc off your
stop.
foot into the audience.
Yeah, you have to stop because if you don't stop, the Croc goes straight up in the air.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't come off your foot.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of like stop it, and then
Okay.
the Croc goes.
Okay.
And so I truly believe it will become some type of sport someday, and I'm trying to start that here. We're thinking of maybe putting up targets at some of my headline shows, and if you hit a target, there's an extra song played,
or maybe like a QR code inside the Croc.
Well, I get them back though.
Okay.
I get them back every time.
Okay.
Well, I ask for them back, and people
Okay.
are polite. And it's a way of building community.
Yeah.
But I've only had one show where I didn't get them back,
Yeah.
and that's because the first one landed on top of a lighting truss in a club, and so
Yeah.
I couldn't get them back, so I
Yeah.
just kicked the other one to keep it.
Yeah.
But every other time they get thrown back at me.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it could be a sport.
It
it's-
requires athleticism, let me tell you.
It's like
I have to
bags,
stretch now.
but
I
you're
never used
kicking
to
it off your
stretch.
foot, and you're trying to land to a target. I
Yeah.
think you got something here.
Yeah, and like a big net or like a field goal kind of thing.
Yeah. And I like your mission statement on your live, on your socials to be loved to everyone and show kindness to everyone
Yeah.
because you don't know what they've gone through.
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, on my worst days, if someone shows me kindness, it's kind of changes the day.
Yeah.
And it can be something little, something big. But I do truly believe in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
think
Just be
it's-
nice to people, man. If more people were nice to each other, you would
You
have
put
a lot
it
less
out there, you
conflict.
get it back.
Exactly.
Including your Crocs.
Yes. See, that's a good example.
right
I
there.
never thought about that.
Yeah.
You know, you're nice to people, you get your shoes back.
Yeah. I think you're talented. I think you're going to be around for a while.
Thank you.
In my opinion. I am Talk on socials.
Yes, that's
You're a
correct.
great follow on Instagram.
Thank you.
Yeah, very
I like to
compelling.
be funny. I like to be a bit of
Yeah,
a troll.
You're likable.
Thank you.
And here at Lollapalooza, check out his music. It's just, it really,
Some good
it's all the
music,
bases.
you know?
It's all the bases.
Good, wholesome, heart-filled
Yeah,
music.
yeah. This is Talk.
Thank you for having me.